the show. This is The Force Always. My name is Diz, aka David Zammit, and what a week it has been with Star Wars. Not a whole lot of happening at the moment, and that's what I mean, but let's get straight into the news. So, in 2027, 50th anniversary, they're going to re-release A New Hope Episode 4, Star Wars, whatever you want to call it. Some people know it for either of those titles, but the original Star Wars is going to be re-released in cinemas, which is what George Lucas once said, it's how it should be experienced, and to be honest, it should be experienced that way. It's going to be re-released in 2027, marking the anniversary for the 50th anniversary franchise. At that stage, it was, it was all on hope, really, for George Lucas to get more movies out. And so he took a big chance and really won. But that's the news for this time around. Let's get into the views. Views is my story ideas. That means any type of story I have within Star Wars. So let's just start off with that. Star Wars ideas within people seem to have caused a problem within Star Wars because people are wanting a certain story to be told by a certain producer, director, writer, or themselves, or what the look should look like, or what the feel should be. And everyone has had their own story ideas. Ever since 1977, I remember as a kid on a piece of paper just putting Star Wars, like X-Wing fighters, which are like the spaceships for the good guys, if you want to put it that way, and, TIE fighters, which is the spaceships for the bad guys, and just making out a sort of a story scenario. It really did extend from George Lucas sort of creating possibilities within things like clay models and actual spacecraft models, and if he could do this um and it was obtainable by the regular person in life, it just sort of inspires people. So the story ideas really have come from the very first one back in 1977. So if you think Star Wars is in turmoil because the whole story outline at the moment, from the people who own it, which is Disney, you know everyone has had a idea from the very start, and I just think it's causing a bit of conflict. But anyway, my story idea to cause a bit of conflict is the re-release of A New Hope, Episode 4, Star Wars in 2027. There's been a little bit of debate of which particular version will be released. In my humble opinion, I sort of get the whole reasoning behind George Lucas saying, I don't really want to release the very first version of it because to him it's like a draft. And when you are an artiste, whether that's painting or music or whatever it is, he did say it right. You never really finish what you create because there's always times where you go, my goodness, I should have done this, I should have done that. Sometimes it feels complete, but usually it's something that it's an evolving thing. Creativity is just always evolving. I think personally, the version that should be released in 2027 should be the absolute most up-to-dated version that you probably get on Disney Plus. In my opinion, I would love to see something added to it just to create a bit of intrigue, because the special editions back in 97, 96, or whatever that was, 1997, for me, I was just in awe of this. I thought this is great. And even though the special editions, versions now look a little bit outdated in their effects and stuff like that. I just thought it was great. Um, leading into it, during it, and even after. I am a person that takes on the special editions as that's great. Um, I'd like to see a version of A New Hope or Star Wars or Episode 4, whatever you want to call it, re-released with something added to it, which will cause controversy, but I think it will. That's what I like to see. I think seeing the original version that came out in 1977, I think it would be, unfortunately, a bit of a horror story visually and audibly. I think it's just, there's reasons why it's been updated. I mean, I'd like to see that at the actual convention, Star Wars Celebration in 2027 for the fans only. I think that's how you make sense of that. You shouldn't ban it, but I just don't think it needs, all the attention that Star Wars hardcore fans think it needs. I just think, look, okay, that was then, this is now, let's just move on. That's the thing with Star Wars. It just needs to keep moving on forward, not backward, in my opinion. Anyway, that's my story idea. So let's get into interviews. And once again, there's no real interviews at the moment. But Michael from Werribee South, as I keep calling in this show, he's an actual real person. He's, unable to make the stage right now here at the Force Awakens. But he's always asking David or Diz, why is it that Star Wars is hard to understand because I don't know where to enter? The age-old argument, where should you start in watching Star Wars? I think, at this stage, start anywhere. If it's going to captivate you by watching that particular episode or TV series or episodic cinematic release, then that's where you start. In my humble opinion, I think the best way to do Star Wars with surprise factor is to start at episode 4, which is A New Hope, which is the original Star Wars. If you want the surprises, if you don't know what I'm actually leading to with Darth Vader revealing something that was quite amazing. But you know what? Starting at episode 1 is actually what I ultimately would think you should do. But, it's really up to you. You can start anywhere, really. I think most preferably just start at episode 1. Or actually start at the timeline now. And the timeline is going to be a bit of a hard watch for some people. But, for me, it's a part of the timeline, which is actually at the moment, the beginning at the moment is The Acolyte. It's a TV series found on Disney+. So start there. See how you go. That's what I think. That's the interviews for this time around. Let's get into reviews. Let's get in reviews. Let's see what I can find today for reviews. Okay, so here's my review. This is a Funko Pop character I got. I collected back in the Last Jedi days. This is a guy called DJ. Now, I can't remember. God, my God. I think it's Antonio somebody. He's a legend actor. He played this particular character. I thought the actual character leading up to this particular movie release, The Last Jedi, seemed to be pretty good. The most annoying thing about this character, not because it's, the annoying factor that people take on like Jar Jar Binks, but he had this extreme stutter and it was just a bit frustrating to hear this all the time. And his character really didn't, end up being ultimately a great received and sort of, character and also just character in general. But this particular guy, DJ, would be probably now a collector's item because no one likes The Last Jedi. Well, a lot of people don't like The Last Jedi. And collecting these things is now, I'd say, a collectible item. That's my review, I'll give this guy, I'll give this guy a 7 out of 10. It's not my most favourite thing, but it's a collectible. Anyway, that's it. Anyway, so that's the show for this time around, The Force Always. As I say every single time, keep rockin'.